Welcome back to Sip and Sage here at the Toxic Free Zone. I'm your host, Anjae, and today we have a special guest, Imani. Woo woo. I ain't gonna give you her last name because y'all don't know her like that. Like
yeah,
I do.
period. It's really Mani, but we gonna keep it
okay,
going.
my bad. Mani. Period. First of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You.
I'm excited to be in a toxic free zone, guys.
Period. And it is toxic free. We don't want to do that.
You see, I respected the space and I brought my tea. I had to match her energy. I got a little something extra in my tea, but we ain't gonna talk about it.
We ain't gonna talk about it. I ain't gonna talk about it. This is my Sister's Keeper book, and I know you seen Mean Girls.
Mm-hmm, of course.
The Burn book.
The Burn book.
And this Burn book is actually about manifesting, prayer, letter to yourself, and a quote.
I love that.
So that's what you get to do today on the show. You get to write something to yourself or to someone else or to me.
I would say it's to me.
Yeah.
I can write to whoever.
Whoever. Write to whoever.
Okay, I'm gonna surprise y'all who I'm gonna write to.
Okay.
But got you.
So that's what the rule of the book is, because we want to be able to open up and be vulnerable on this space, because we have multiple listeners who are basically that's been in my position as just, getting into the field, trying to navigate how to get to it. And I know for you, you're someone that's already been there. So let's go ahead and talk to me about a little bit about your history and what you do.
Okay, cool. So like we said, I prefer to be called by Mani. I am currently the VP of Operations for the Blueprint Group. Additionally, I am also a TV and film producer. Worked on this plethora of things. I won't go down that list.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also do festivals on the side. So
you in your bag.
Girl, I be out here trying to make something happen. Like, we're trying to make something make sense. So I think that to kind of jump into your question, as far as like things I've kind of come across, well, do you care about my trajectory, or you just kind of want to?
I want to keep it real. It's uncut, being real to our listeners, because they like us, especially because this is more for like Black women. Yeah. And we are Black women. So I want them to know the real. Okay.
So, just a short little biography. I did go to Albany State, the Unsinkable. Shout out, y'all. BCU. There, I majored in mass communications, just so you guys know. Like, I was one of those people that I had very supportive parents. Mm-hmm. So my parents was always like, follow your dreams, the money will follow after. And so, like, I knew from a young age that I was super passionate about cameras. I didn't know how to make it make sense, how to make it a career. I just don't like cameras. Mm-hmm. So, grew up in the church, was running, like, audio and, doing camera stuff. And then went to college, majored in mass communications, did film and TV, had a web series on campus. Had the whole campus tuned in, y'all. We was dropping every week. Shout out Game Over. If y'all know about it, y'all know. But did that, graduated, and then 4 months out of undergrad, got my first job on set. I was a casting production assistant. Shout out Cab University. And then I worked in casting before my next boss picked me up. Then I became the executive assistant for the VP of Operations at BET. So I was at BET for like a year, and then came back to the freelance space. And then after that, I kind of like been freelancing as a producer ever since. Most recently, I'll do this. So just kind of so y'all know, I worked on Charlamagne the God Show in New York. So I lived in New York for about a year and a half. I came back to Atlanta. I'm from the South Side. Came back to Atlanta in December. And so in December, I'll be back home for officially a year. But I did live in New York for a year and a half. I worked on Little Baby's documentary. I was working with Amrita the Great as far as, like, part of her management team. So I kind of dabbled.
Your resume is filled.
Well, I dabble because, like I said, I started in film and TV. And so, like, that was what I was passionate about. And so then I met Amrita on Love and Hip Hop when I was her producer. Right. And, things came around. We ended up started working together. And so when I started working with her, she was kind of like that first little bit of, like, music industry that kind of got into. But then I started program managing for Go Dark. So I was working with, like Kyle and the Go Dark team. And so then that was really my introduction to music, the music side. And so when I started realizing that film and TV and music actually have a lot more intersection than it's credited for.
So basically, during all of that, like, can you talk about what you kind of went through? Did you have like a spiritual or like a self-care journey that you went through? Like, was there any challenges? Because I know you have supportive, family, but personally wise, like, how hard was it?
Honey, I couldn't even say that I was on no spiritual journey because I don't think granted, again, grew up in the church, but like, you only know what people tell you a lot of times, especially when you're growing up. Right. And so like, even now, I'm very adamant about getting my own answers. Like, I don't just believe something that somebody tells me or like, oh, the preacher said whatever. Like, I'm actually in my word and I'm reading. So I won't say I had a spiritual trajectory. It was just a matter of once I got older, I started being like, okay, let me be more intentional. Right. And so in my intentionality came, okay, how am I going to be my best self in better alignment? Obviously, that's a higher calling. So it's just like with God. And once I was, established that relationship, I think everything else just started lining up.
Fell in line.
Yeah. And girl, when I didn't tell y'all what I was doing in those 4 months after undergrad, just know it was a very humbling experience. Oh, yeah,
because you skipped that whole little section.
Girl,
it's okay.
We can talk about another day.
Okay.
But that 4 months, every single day I was praying. Every single day I was praying. And I know for a fact, looking back at it, I know for a fact God put me in that place where I was intentionally. And because I had to be humble before he could take me to the next stage.
And I love that because that's something I'm learning every day.
Yeah.
And I'm just humbled the heck out of me just to get to where I'm at, especially being an intern for Go Dark that you, of course, run.
We love to
if y'all don't know, I love her. But, being someone who's in freelance and as well as...
y'all? I got a full-time job now.
Full-time. Well, because you still do freelance somewhat.
Yeah.
But as well as, being about a Go Dark and... a
lot of things, girl.
The other one, like, as a male dominant, how does that work?
Yeah. So I think that, again, I have a very unique story just because I am used to, like, a lot of times being the only woman in spaces. And so, like, navigating a male-dominated industry at first wasn't intimidating to me because I'm so familiar. And then also my parents are military. So it was like, I just grew up just knowing, like, okay, like, I grew up with tough love, for real. Like, you get what I'm saying? And so it's just like, by the time I came to the industry, it was like, you couldn't out-tough me. Because it was just like, yo, like, I already know how to get around whatever you're trying to get to. But I think that as I got older and I was like, okay, I'm ready to be an executive. And I realized most of the executives were black men. Then that, and even my first boss at BET, like I said, my first boss in entertainment was a black man.
Well, that's lucky because, what I'm knowing is a lot of executives are white. So,
y'all, like I said, from the South Side, we grew up in Atlanta. I'm blessed to say I didn't really do a lot of.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't really have to do, I'm talking about my professional career, I didn't really have to deal with a lot of, they don't understand. I lied. The first time I dealt with that was when I was working in New York. Okay. And it was because, like I said, the show that I was working on was intended to be for a black community, but then we still had to get the sign off from white superiors that own the network. So it's like a lot of times we would submit something, they're like, we don't get your humor. And so if they don't get your humor, they send it back. You gotta cut this out. I can't laugh at this. So that was my first time where I was just like, oh shoot, like we don't run nothing because we don't own nothing. Right. And so I'm gonna shout out y'all because y'all the real ones. But like that's why I was like so impressed or like excited about like networks like Revolt because it's owned by black people. You get what I'm saying? Where you have other networks, they might have like black people in the forefront, but they not running nothing. You get what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they still gotta go to the Bobs and the Bills and stuff like that.
So right now there ain't no challenges.
Yeah, Revolt, we going to Diddy, we going to Jamal, we going to now granted not Jamal, it's the Tavio. I'm just joking. But it's just like I don't think I ever had to deal with having to be like, this is like white people. Yeah. Like, sorry. YTs. YTs.
We gotta start calling them. It's YTs now.
Yeah, okay.
YTs. What about leadership? Because me knowing you are a great leader.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
I think it's the Aries in us, girl.
It is the Aries. We Aries twins. Y'all ain't even know.
Facts.
So like when it comes to leadership and like knowing the path, what could you say like helps you guide that, and then what can you give to other people to get into that position?
I think I would credit again my parents because again this is the army of it all. You get it together real quick. And then my bosses. Every boss that I have worked with has built me like literally. My first boss, 0 BS. Mm-hmm. My second boss, 0 BS. My boss now, 0 BS. And so when you constantly have someone you have to answer to and they not taking whatever you about to say as an answer, it kind of makes you level up. Mm-hmm. And so as a black woman, learning from black men, it was just super beneficial just because, like, if you learn from a black man and they already dominating, and they gonna teach you the game, like, you gonna be, like, unstoppable.
So what do you want to go into, like, being your own boss? Like, officially?
I don't know. No, I don't want to speak on that because I don't know. It kind of just like whatever God has for me at this point.
Following
like,
his path.
Yeah, because you can say what you want to do, like what you think that you should do. But at the end of the day, like, I feel like God has brought me this far. And, like, mind you, like I said, I knew I was in love with cameras. I didn't know how to make a career out of it. Right. And yet here I am right now. You get what I'm saying? Right. I've done these things. So my thing is, I don't want to be like, oh, yeah, I'm my own. Like, granted, I have my own business now, but I'm still being able to work a full-time job. Or I'm still being able to freelance and work things with, different companies. So my thing is I can still do that and still do.
Okay. Yeah. So when it comes to all your boss, have they all been men or have been women?
Every boss I've had has been a male.
What's going on with that? What do you think that is?
We know what it is. I don't think it's a secret. It's a male-dominated industry. I'm thankful that they're black men, but it's a male-dominated industry. But what I can say is I'm very thankful for the women that I have come across. Mm-hmm. Like I'm a name drop one, just one specifically.
Give us some more.
It's a lot of black women, black executives genuinely out here. We just don't get to see them, unfortunately, as often as we see the black men. But there are a lot of black women. Alicia Birch, I'm going to put that out there. She was the lead producer for Revolt World. I worked with her several times. You have a lot. You have Janae Roseanne Clay, who works for Jesse Collins Entertainment, Dion Harmon. There's a lot of black women out here, like, going crazy. Amber Grimes at LVRN. Like, when I tell you black women are outside, y'all, like, unfortunately, we're stuck in this dynamic of being a superwoman. Yep. And so a lot of times you don't get to see them as much as you might see the other black men executives outside because the black women are probably with their head down somewhere trying to make some shade.
So how would you think we should, like, change the perspective? Because on this show, we want to talk about that there are women in the industry, in the executive, and it's not just men. Like, what do you think we can do to change that perspective to get that seen more in the limelight so that women and young women know we can do more?
Expose yourselves. How? I think getting involved. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I think that I've met some of the great women that I've met because I was just in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? And it's not even like strategically always being like, oh, such and such is gonna be like strength of a woman, Mary J. Blige gonna be here. I gotta strength. It's not even that deep always. Right. It's just the fact that you go wherever you go and you embrace that opportunity. For instance, like, I met Amber Grimes when I was at a music summit that Atlanta Chamber of Commerce was throwing, and she was a speaker. I had no idea who this woman was, but I watched her on the panel. She was fly, and she was just saying stuff that was hitting. Yeah. Tell me why. And let's call with me. Call might have been with me, but tell me why I get on the elevator and Amber's on the elevator with me.
Right time.
At the right place, the right time. Yeah. And mind you, like I said, I didn't really know too many great women executives. Right. And so, like, I'm sitting here, you know how they be telling y'all about, like, an elevator pitch? Y'all, like, when I tell y'all, like, that's a real thing.
How did it go? Can you remember your elevator?
I ain't gonna do that. It wasn't an elevator pitch. I did not give her an elevator pitch. It made you think of it because you're on the elevator. You never know who you liable to run into.
So what was, like, the main points of your elevator speech?
Mind you, and I forgive me for this, I didn't know Amber before that day. You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't come from a music background. Right. So the first time I met her, I was like, dang, this girl's dope. You get what I'm saying? I'm giving her flowers. But so when I got on there, it was just genuine, organic conversation. And it was like, and then we found out we have mutuals. She's from Atlanta too. So like, we found out we have mutuals. Yeah. And so after
it's
that
all about
point,
who you know.
Yeah. So I followed her on Instagram. Full circle moment, she ends up being one of the moderators from our stage at Revolt World. And so it's like, you get what I'm saying? Now it's like, okay, you done met this person and whatever, but now you get to, like, actually be around this person because this person is actually on your stage. So It's just like, I think you just got to be out.
Yeah,
you get what I'm saying? Like, you have to be out and around. I feel like that's how you change the dynamic, because then they have no choice. They see you doing the work. You get what I'm saying? Like, they have no choice. You know what I'm saying?
So as Aries, you know, I'm an extrovert, and you spark me as an extrovert.
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
It
depends on where I'm at. Yeah, it depends on where I'm at.
So how would that go? How would you say, like, it depends?
I know
What's
you.
in the scenario?
You get what I'm saying? So I'm going to sit here. We're going to have a conversation. I support you, your platform. I'm excited to be here. I'm an extrovert. But, like, a lot of times, I don't like people being able to feel as though, I feel like one thing, people feel like they know your name, they feel like they know you. And my thing is, I never want you to feel comfortable enough to speak on me. You get what I'm saying? And so, like, I am an extrovert because hey, I'm Monty, I do blah, blah, blah. I mean, I'm not even tell you all that. But you get what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, that's probably all you're going to end up finding out.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? But then it's like, okay, cool. Me and Anjae are cool. Me and Anjae are having conversation. Anjae's going to learn more and more about me. So it's not that I'm an extrovert or introvert. It's just I'm who I am when I need to be there at the time. Yeah.
Did you grow up with a mentor? Did you have a mentor?
I thought I'd be shady if I said no.
Why? Or were you your own mentorship?
It was trial and error. Like, it was trial and error. I had a time where I wanted people to mentor me.
For me, I know for a fact, I did not have a mentor growing up. I was my own mentor. Like, I would think somebody would be my mentor, but then they would do something. I'm like,
yeah,
nah,
exactly. But exactly. And so, like, I don't know if that aligns with me.
Exactly. So I've been literally looking. So when I found this internship and I met you, honestly, I'm going to just tell you, the first time I got the Zoom call with you, I was like, oh, she's an Aries. She gonna see right through me. Oh my God. So I was like, you know what? What I'm gonna do is, if I get it, and I know I'm gonna get it, I'm gonna make her love me.
Wow.
And I'm serious, because I was like, I'm gonna be the little sister she ain't never wanted.
And look where we at.
And I love that. So can you speak on, like, how important or not important it is for a mentor?
It's extremely important. It's beyond important. I think it's actually undervalued. And that's one of the biggest things that I was saying, like, with me, like, you know, people are like, oh, with leaders or people in general, you either going to pick up what you want to do or what you don't want to do. And so I think that what I witnessed, and maybe it was because I was dealing with majority men, what I witnessed, I realized a lot of what I didn't want to do. And what I knew I did want to do was make sure I showed up. Right. You get what I'm saying? Especially for black women that were especially younger than me. I don't have no little sister, so, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it makes me feel good if I'm able to pour. Exactly. I love it here. But it makes me feel good giving back in any capacity. And I think mentorship is so important because my thing is, like, if you got the keys, why are you holding them to yourself?
My thing is, it's like, how do you even continue that mentorship? Because you could have multiple mentors. And you're like, oh, yeah, you can be.
You don't look at it like mentorship. It's an organic relationship. You get what I'm saying? Like, you don't go out seeking for it. You just be. And the people are either going to gravitate to it or they're not. And granted, you want to make sure especially when you're talking to executives or whatever, that they like you. But let me tell you, they can smell you a mile away.
Exactly.
They can smell an opportunist. They can smell somebody that's not confident in themselves. They can smell that. So it's just like, when you're your most natural self, you're your most confident self. So when you're your most confident self, everything else going to take its own course.
Right.
So it's just like, I don't know. I feel mentorship is undervalued, but it shouldn't be. Like, and that's why Go Dark is so beautiful, because you come in and all of us are having organic relationships.
One thing I love when we came in was y'all were like, this is a family.
It's a family.
And me, I'm someone who is family oriented.
Facts.
I want a family. Like, I don't consider everybody family.
Facts.
But I knew the moment I walked into the atmosphere, I was like, I can trust them.
Facts.
That's why I was so, just an extrovert person when it came to that. I was the person to just open up automatically because I felt the vibe. And, like, you guys were someone that was open.
Yeah.
So it made it seem so easy. And then looking for just a family and a mentor, it just came natural, like you said.
Facts. And I'm gonna give my boy his flowers for a little second. I call him Sir Campbell when he's, acting crazy. But Kyle actually was super adamant about making sure that we had women in this program. And granted, like I said, I've been the program manager before, and I've never really paid attention to the dynamic entirely, like as far as the ratio of men versus women.
Right.
But Kyle was very adamant about making sure, like, bro, like we need more women in this program. And so it was crazy because then when we got into our program, we weren't set on how many people, we were set on quality of people. So in previous programs, we was like, oh, we need 9 or 10 interns. This year we was like, no, we need quality. So if they're not quality, we would rather rock out with 3 interns and be just fine. But my thing is, once we decided who our interns were and we realized, okay, the dynamic's a little different. We only got 2 women in the group. You get what I'm saying? But it's fine because what I felt like I think it was a blessing in disguise. Because now, guess what? I feel like I was able to be more intimate with my ladies. You get what I'm saying? Whereas, you know what I'm saying, the guy's gonna do what the guy's gonna do.
Right.
But it's just like I feel like, you know, women, we need a safe space, especially in this industry. So I think that I love that, you know, we were able to welcome you guys and that you feel that way, because that's literally genuinely the point.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so we're gonna have a tea break.
Yeah, let me get this.
I'm gonna move this book before it fall again, like the last time.
Okay. Look, let me not give free promo out, y'all. Hold up 1 second. Are we clinking again?
Yes, it's
All right,
always a
let's
ting.
clink.
I do like the Braxtons. I be like ting ting
Yo,
ting.
we didn't get into this mug. Her mug is so cute.
It says manifest that ish.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's my favorite color.
Right, censor that out.
Censor it out. You gotta do. One's good.
All right, let's rock out.
All right. So before we end up ending the show, you have to go ahead and write in the special book.
We doing it now?
Yes, we're doing it now.
Dang, the time is
now,
gone,
here's
y'all.
the thing, though. You do not have to share it if you do not want to. Because it is my sister's keeper, it is a personal space.
Oh, I love that.
So unless you want to share it with everyone, you don't have to.
I ain't gonna share it with y'all. But I am gonna receive the book, and I'll even let y'all see me write in it.
Yes.
But I'm not gonna share what I write.
No.
Like I said, I'm keeping it a surprise. But maybe Anjae will share it with you guys.
It ain't gonna be shared. This is personal. This is a safe space.
Shaking my head. Okay, so Miss Anjae, may I ask you a question?
Yes.
So, what made you want to create this platform? And what do you hope to gain from having this platform?
This entire platform was to shed light that women are not seen in any type of business or music industry as much as we should. And I feel like me growing up, all I knew was us women either having babies, caring to the men, or doing whatever else God knows, and not knowing that we can be so much more. Like I stated, I've always knew that I was destined to be great.
Right.
I always
knew
Aries.
It
gotta be an
y'all.
Aries thing, and I feel like I was even blessed to have so many talents to show that. Now I do, have struggles of trying to continue and focus on one thing because I'm such a creative person. I want to continue to do so many things. So I was like, well, I got to find a way to put all of my gifts into one. And I was like, a podcast, I can help direct it. I can be a host. I can do whatever I need to do on the podcast, as well as meet and conversate and build a bond with other women, especially Black women in the industry that I want to be in, or just a business industry, because I'm someone that wants to be an entrepreneur.
Facts.
So it's like, okay, well, what can I do to change the narrative for younger people? And again, like going back, we didn't have someone as a mentor. Right. Everybody says, their mom or their sister, but it's like, yes, I had that, but parents don't know so much. Like, my mom has no idea about the music industry or anything.
Because that wasn't a thing for real.
Exactly. Like, nobody.
Yeah. People getting paid off their creativity is like a newer thing, and actually having sustainability from it, like livelihood, that's a new thing.
Exactly. And it just goes back to parents, disciplining the child for what they know, and like they can't teach you how to make $1,000 if they never made $1,000. Yeah. So I was like, well, I gotta find a platform and a mentor or just something that women who's done this already to help guide me, because I'm still in the process, and help guide other people who haven't even started yet. Yeah. So that's what this whole platform is.
About meeting people where they are.
Exactly. Meeting you where you're at. Building a sisterhood, building a bond, building a vulnerable space that we can just talk freely and be ourselves. Right. And realize we are that ish. We can do
Period.
way more than sit at home or
right,
whatever else.
Well, we're gonna raise some kids, but that's the only thing we could do.
Right. Like, we nurturers, you know, we're nurturers just in general, but we're so much more.
So I know I said that I was gonna write in the book, but can I give your audience, especially the Black women, my piece?
Yes.
Black ladies, I'm gonna talk to the camera, y'all. Let's get out of the habit of feeling like we have to show up as super women. And I say that because we want to have it all. I'm also guilty of being those people that want to have it all. I want to have the job. I want to have the man. I want to have, you know, the lifestyle. Everybody wants that, but you have to leave space for you. Right. You cannot give from an empty cup. And I feel like a lot of Black women, especially, all they know is to be super women, and that's not always it. Because then guess what? Everybody can continue to look at that. Only person that loses is you. So it's just like Black women out here, I would love to leave that with you. Like, it's okay to do it all, be it all, but do not neglect yourselves in trying to be super women and cater to everyone. Cater to yourself. Self-love is a real thing. Definitely. Self-love will allow you to find love, because when you have that love within yourself, you're able to radiate it outside of yourself. So I think that's the big thing that I would write. Or not write, but to tell the audience. I'm going to write something else, but get out of this superwoman mindset. It is okay to be human. It's okay to cry. And it's okay to need a moment to yourself.
Especially with self-care, we kind of miss out on a lot of self-care. So
because you're fending for everybody else.
Fending for yourself. Like, some people don't know how to say no.
And I hope you're not talking to yourself, but that is a real thing. You cannot say yes to everything, y'all. And I know people be trying to say that. They be sitting here and be like, say yes to opportunity. Sometimes your no is just as strong as your yes. Most especially definitely. Once you have done certain things and, you know, have.
Because most people burned out.
You're not good for anything.
Especially,
burnout is
and
real.
I want to even put that. Know your light. Don't give your light to everybody. And I had to learn that the hard way.
You dropping gems like you.
I'm dropping gems because it's true, and I just went through that. Like,
you are dropping
dealing
gems.
with that. I was trying to give my light to someone else, and
and people would take it. People would drain. Sorry, Sister Keeper. People will drain. People will drain you, especially when they see you're full of light and love. They will drain you because it makes them feel better because they're probably drained. Exactly. And so you replenish them. Exactly. And so instead, like, that's what I'm saying, empty cup, because all they're doing is taking from you, and you're the only person left with the baggage. Exactly.
And we want to stop that.
Got to leave that superwoman.
While she's doing that and write it in the book, I want to say thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure that you come back for another episode, because we have another special guest coming in to talk about some more stuff about, you know, their challenges and their experiences. And you can just like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions, go ahead and leave it at the bottom of the section. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in to Sip and Sage at the Toxic Free Zone. Feel free to follow me on our platforms at Iamanjae, which is IAMANJAE. Thank you.